Jai Atmeshwar, Samarpan Yog of the Himalayas, Part 1, Episode 14. Man does not realize how his life is passing. He does not even realize that we continually absorb energy from the place where our attention goes. So we may be at any place physically, but that does not make any difference. It is our state of mind which makes us aware of happiness and sorrow. It creates an illusion. Once you go beyond that, there's neither happiness nor sorrow. We have one delusion which is not permanent. We are aware of happiness and sorrow depending on our level. Happiness and sorrow are present at the physical level and also at the soul level. We can obtain physical happiness through material things, but material objects also have limitations. They cannot give happiness beyond a certain limit. Thus, to obtain more happiness, we should use these objects only for distribution to others. For example, a man has 100 sweaters. If you present that person with another sweater, he won't be happy with the extra one. He will take it and keep it with the 100 other sweaters. If he wants to have more happiness, then he will have to give the sweater to someone who needs it and who doesn't have a single sweater. And by doing so, he can be happy. This shows that we have to depend on someone else to be happy. Service to others is happiness of the soul. Though the service should not be exhibited, one finds a lot of inner happiness by serving others. This need to serve others is the pure emotion of one's pure soul. But one should take care that this act of service to others is not performed to impress others. Otherwise, it will increase one's ego, and that will be fatal. Thus, a lot of importance is given to donation in every religion. If you obtain inner joy by donating to others, your soul becomes stronger. And if your soul becomes stronger, you will progress spiritually. Therefore, the work of service is also a tool for spiritual progress. People do offer service to others, but do not think of it as service only at the physical level. This is also pure nourishment for the soul. In order to understand all this, one needs a suitable guru. I thank Paramatma that he gave me such a guru through whom I could absorb all the knowledge. There are several languages which are not used today because they do not possess a written script. They can only be spoken, and later on, once the speaker passes away, the use of that language ends. Some languages which were spoken in the past do not have a written script now, but are still prevalent. These languages are passed on and taught from one generation to another, and the medium for teaching them is only a living person, because the language is not from a lifeless book. This language is called living because its mediums are living. Similarly, lifeless knowledge can be obtained through lifeless books. One can understand what a cow looks like from a lifeless book. One can see its picture and read the description, but fresh cow's milk can only be obtained from a living cow. Lifeless books can give all knowledge except the knowledge of experience. A spiritual experience is a living process, which is why a book cannot give it. One can become arrogant by reading too many books, and then the person will want to gain all knowledge only from books because he cannot imagine that there can be any knowledge beyond books. That is why such intellectual individuals need to meditate, as then they can analyze the good results obtained from meditation through their intellect. They want to meditate, but they do not want a Sadguru. That is, they want milk, but they do not want the cow. They have no awareness of living knowledge, and that is why they fail to understand that when meditation is a living technique, it is only natural that there will be a living guru. The technique of living meditation is based on spiritual experience, and this living spiritual experience has also been carried forward like a living language from one living medium to another. This technique cannot be found in any book. Meanwhile, I had reached the bank of the river without realizing it. The river water was flowing swiftly. This river was coming from the Himalayas. Hence, the water was very cold, but it was also clean. Stones rolled around in it and became smooth and rounded. The water there was not very deep. It was a small river, but a good one. I stayed sitting on the bank of the river, dangling my feet whilst sitting on a rock, and felt refreshed. All my tiredness disappeared, and my aching feet were also relieved. There were tiny fish in the water, which had reached there in the current, and they came up to me fearlessly. So many fish gathered around me when I went to bathe in the water that I feared that some fish would get crushed under my feet. I had never seen so many fish so close to anyone. I came out of the water after my bath and sat near the fire I had lit under the overhang of a rock. Then I slept for the night. I woke up in the morning and had a bath. When I came out of the water, I saw that a lot of crabs had gathered there. Generally, they live hidden under the rocks. I decided to resume climbing, and I suddenly reached a thoughtlessness state as I began to climb slowly. The energy within me increased, and I had already climbed the hill before I knew it. Just before reaching the summit, I saw a small hillock, and Gurudev's hut was sheltered in it. The hut was quite big, and there was a place for performing the fire ceremony, that is, the havan, quite close to it. The fire ceremony place was housed in a small hut, and there was a third hut where firewood, fuel for the fire ceremony, herbs, and other materials were stored. All three huts faced the east. They faced the east to the front and west at the back. There was a raised platform at the back. It was almost evening when I reached there, and the sun was about to set. Gurudev was performing a fire ceremony in the fire ceremony hut. I waited outside, and after completing the ceremony, he came towards me. I saw that he was of medium height and appeared quite old, but his body was full of radiance. He had tied his hair at the back, and he had very sharp, piercing eyes. As soon as he came close to me, I respectfully prostrated before Gurudev, and he said to me, "Come, first have a bath. There's a tank over there." He pointed towards a small pool which I had not noticed. I went to the pool, left my shoulder bag there, and bathed in it, and thought that this water must have come from the same hillock, when my glance fell on a small piece of bamboo. This piece had been pushed into the hill, and the hill water was flowing out as if from a tap and flowing into the pool. Later, Gurudev gave me some fruits to eat and made room for me in the hut near the fire ceremony hut where the firewood was kept. That hut was also quite small. Gurudev said to me, "Take rest. You have travelled a long distance and you must be tired. Now you must take some rest." I prepared a bed in the hut with some dry grass and went to sleep. I don't know when I fell asleep. My feet were aching very badly and I was very tired, so I slept. I woke up in the morning to the sound of birds chirping in the ashram. The sun was about to rise in a reddening sky, and I could see the river before me. Just as I had seen the previous day, the sun was about to rise on the hill across the river. It was a beautiful scene. Gurudev was meditating in his hut, so I got up, swept the whole ashram, cleaned it, and then went for my bath. By the time I returned, the sun had already risen, and Gurudev was busy preparing for the fire ceremony, the yajna. His ceremonies and other activities went on for some time. I watched everything from outside. Gurudev had a vast knowledge of mantras, of incantations, and chanted them in a clear, sweet voice. After completing the fire ceremony, he sat in the same room with me. There was an altar for performing the ceremony, which appeared to be built with mud and stones, but was quite nice and big. Gurudev asked me, "I hope you did not have any problems getting here." I answered, "No." Then he said, "I know your Gurudev quite well. When he told me about you, I felt that I should call you here. We have never met physically, but at the Atmic level, the soul level, we follow the same path. Similarly, I have never met your Gurudev physically. We have connected with each other through our minds. Meditation is a spiritual practice which has to be perfected through continual study, and one should not desire anything whilst practicing it. Spiritual practice should be undertaken in its pure form, because spiritual practice cannot reach completion in an impure form. The spiritual practice of meditation is similar to art. An artist is a person who reaches a high state of thoughtlessness through the medium of art. It is a state of thoughtlessness through which one can reach Paramatma. Art is present in every human being through the grace of Paramatma. Art cannot arise without His grace. That is why you will find every artist close to Paramatma. It may be any form of art, singing, playing, musical instruments, sketching, sculpture. All artists are special mediums of Paramatma. They are not tied down by any race, religion, language, or color. They are only mediums of Paramatma, and He bestows all these special qualities in every human in some form or the other. Some people may be able to give it form, whilst others may not. And those who are able to do so are special receivers of Paramatma's grace. That is why these artists have a total feeling of surrender towards their art. When someone surrenders through the medium of his art, he can easily reach Paramatma. For an artist, his art is everything. Every human loves his own life more than anything else, but an artist loves his art more than life. Every artist has the desire that his art should remain alive, and the artist always lives for his art. Every artist wishes that after his life ends, his art should remain alive. He loves his art more than life. Generally, every artist practices art at a spiritual level in his life and passes on the legacy of the art he has acquired through continual spiritual practice to some suitable disciple. Only then can he die peacefully. Otherwise, there are several artists who cannot find peace even after death. The artist's soul wanders around in the form of a spirit because of the dissatisfied feeling that he could not find anyone who loved his art. Such artists remain in the form of spirits for several years at a time, as long as their art does not develop further, and so they keep on wandering in that form. Only an artist can give liberation to another artist. That is why every artist makes sure that he passes on the legacy of his spiritual practice to someone or the other before he passes away. He is not obliging mankind by passing on his legacy. He is opening the path for his own liberation by creating a future path for his art. Today also, several dead spirits of artists are wandering around in the form of ghosts. They will keep on wandering as long as they do not find a suitable disciple. The full attention of these ghosts is on their art, and without taking their art forward, they neither want to take birth again nor do they wish to achieve liberation. They are stuck because of their art. Every true artist desires that whether he remains or not, his art should remain alive, because an artist loves his art more than life. An artist is a unique creation of Paramatma. An artist can bring joy and happiness to several souls through his art. An audience of people can be spellbound after listening to a singer or instrumental music being played. He forgets himself and reaches a thoughtless state. This is not possible without the special grace of Paramatma. An artist is created under special conditions. When an artist develops the art he has obtained from his guru, he takes it forward and bestows it on some suitable disciple before the end of his life. This is called Guru Dakshina, an offering towards his guru. When you pass on to your disciple whatever you have obtained from your guru in his name, that is repaying the Guru Dakshina in the real sense. Liberation is not possible without offering repayment to the Guru. Otherwise, the soul keeps wandering as it owes a debt to the Guru. Every artist is impelled to give an offering of repayment to his Guru. The offering of repayment is always at the inner soul level. When the Guru has handed over everything he possesses to you, then you should also hand over everything of yours to him. What your Guru gives into your custody is Guru's grace, Guru Kripa, and what you hand over to him as repayment of the debt is Guru Dakshina. One's life exists between Guru's grace, that is Guru Kripa, and offering repayment, that is Guru Dakshina. In society, people think that an offering to the Guru, that is Guru Dakshina, means money. Actually, it is not an offering of money. Money is a medium for one's feelings. It is only a way for the disciple to express his emotions. The death of art is the death of an artist. If art is alive in an artist, then he is alive. Otherwise, the death of art is like his own death. A true artist may choose to die, but he will never allow his art to die. Art is Paramatma's grace. That is why one has to become a soul to achieve it. A disciple has to become a soul, and only after establishing contact with his Guru's soul will he be able to gain Paramatma's grace for the art. An artist accepts his Guru as his Guru. That is, he bows before him with the reverent feeling that he is Paramatma. Then he will be able to find the art that is lying dormant in his Guru. After that, the Guru will not have any control over giving or not giving that knowledge to him. We have the example of the story of Dronacharya and Eklavya before us. Dronacharya, who was the royal guru of the 5 sons of King Pandu, an expert who taught archery specially to Arjuna, in the epic of Mahabharata. Eklavya, a poor tribal boy who wished to learn archery from Dronacharya, who refused to teach him. Eklavya then made a mud statue of Dronacharya and absorbed the knowledge and energy after connecting to him through the statue. If you think of the Guru as an ordinary person, then he will give you ordinary knowledge at the physical level. But if an artist thinks of the Guru as a person, he can never obtain his Guru's knowledge, which has made him famous all over the world. In order to obtain that basic element of knowledge, one will have to accept the Guru as Paramatma, and only then will he be able to obtain the art which he has acquired through his grace. It makes no difference to the Guru whether one accepts him as Paramatma or as a human being. It is we who are affected. Thus, first of all, the feeling that we have obtained Paramatma gives us satisfaction, and this feeling of satisfaction increases our capacity to absorb. It completely opens up our capacity to absorb. That is why we see a feeling of deep reverence in all great artists towards their Guru. Artists have developed their art and grown due to this feeling towards their Guru. They consider him to be equal to Paramatma. Art is always a special grace of Paramatma. It can only be acquired through him. That is why every artist should consider his Guru to be Paramatma, and only then can his grace be obtained. Just as art is a grace of Paramatma, similarly, the spiritual practice of meditation is also an art. As long as this art is not handed over to someone as an offering of repayment to the Guru, I too cannot achieve liberation. That is why I needed you and was searching for you. Now I can hand over the legacy of the spiritual practice of meditation to you, and I wish to open up my path for liberation. Your Gurudev has helped me a lot by placing you in my care. I did not realize how much time has passed, and the sun was about to set. It was again time for Gurudev's fire ceremony, and Gurudev started preparing for it. I sat there motionless, like a statue. I could see everything, but I could not even move. Jai Atmeshwar. We will conclude the book reading for today over here. Thank you for listening.